Howdy y'all, welcome to my channel. Today I'm participating in the Mixed Media Madness YouTube hop. We will have another hop tomorrow. That one will be on blogs, but I will try to make another video. It just won't be connected to the hop. I figured today, since we're working with mixed media, I would bring in my gel printing plate. This one's by Gel Press. I also have a smaller plate, but today we're working with the 5x7 plate. And we're going to use a couple of different types of acrylic paint. We're going to use some ivory black acrylic paint. This is by M. Graham & Company. I actually got this as, this is a student grade that I got when I was in college. This is some Tim Holtz Distress Paint in Candied Apple. We've got some Folk Art Metallic Pure Gold paint. These are all acrylic paints, by the way. Now I know we're going to use this, and I'm not sure if we're going to use this. So this is Deco Art Crafters Acrylic Paint, and I got this at the hardware store. It came in a set. And we may use some Heidi Swapp Marquee acrylic paint. We're also going to be using some stencils. So we're going to start out with this stencil right here. This is an Andy Skinner stencil. We are using the ivory black to help create the silhouette. Now this is an aluminum bottle, so you're going to want to, if you have an aluminum bottle, you're going to want to work from the bottom up. I think that should be plenty. If it's not, then we can bring it back in. Also, we're going to put the cap on, but we're going to set it aside because we're going to clean the lid. That way it'll be easier to open up the next time around, because otherwise if we skipped cleaning the lid, then the paint would act as a glue and it would be really hard to open the tube again. So we're bringing in our brayer. This brayer is by Plaid. They are the makers of Mod Podge. So yeah, I love Plaid. I love Mod Podge. So yeah. Now I know we have a bit of areas that got a little bit of black paint that we weren't expecting them to. So we're just going to grab a bit of kitchen towel to help us clean that off just a bit. I mean, we're not trying to go for perfection here because it is a mixed media piece. We can let it look a little decent. Now I'm going to be, well, my craft room happens to be across the hall from my guest bathroom, so I'm going to stick this in the sink, and it's going to have hot water and some soap in it. That way it'll help me to clean my stencil once I'm completely done with creating this piece. Now if you don't happen to have a sink nearby while you are working on your jelly plate, what you could do is you can bring a little bucket, a little tub in your craft room with some soap and water in it, and as you work through your stencils, you can just leave your stencil in that bucket. And we're going to help clean off our brayer a bit using, just by running it over some of our paper that we have here. So I only have book paper and printer paper out today, so you could use any kind of paper you wanted to. I've even seen people use envelopes. So yeah, you could use whatever you wanted to work with. Now we're going to add some baby powder to this. That way it will dry up a bit, and then we can put our next stencil down. Now as far as this goes, I'm just using my powder tool that I use when I'm heat embossing. And it does have a brush, so you could brush over your stenciled lady if you wanted to. Just have to be real careful that you don't like move any of the paint too much, which I think we did just a bit, but I think we'll be okay. We're not trying to create a perfect piece here, we're just trying to create a mixed media piece. Now we're going to grab another stencil. This is a Tim Holtz stencil that we're going to use now, and it is, well, it reminds me of measuring tape, which I think fits with our little girly right here, because she kind of reminds me of ladies back in the 1950s. So it's not going to be perfect, but I think we'll still get the effect that I wanted to get. So we can try to run this back through, but I think we're going to add just a bit more paint. So now I am done with this stencil, so we can take it over to the sink. So now we're going to bring back in that powder tool. And if you want to, you can bring in the brush, or I'm just going to try to move some of this around that way. So now I'm going to bring in another stencil, and the stencil I'm going to go with is this Gears stencil, and I'm going to use some folk art in metallic pure gold for our stencil of the gears. I'm going to provide links for all of the stencils if I can, and if I'm not able to, I will at least provide you with the names to those stencils so that if you would like to search for them on your own, you totally can. So now we're going to bring that back in over here. I think it's going to look really cool. And we're just going to add a bit more of this folk art paint. And we're just going to take that over to the sink. And I think, although I had thought about doing more, I think I am happy with the amount of stencils and the way they're going to look. So we're going to put them, once we're done cleaning the sprayer, we are going to place some paper over our jelly plate and pick up that print. Okay, so I'm going to take this book paper and I'm going to place this over our jelly plate. Then I'm going to use this stencil tool to help me pick up this print. And we're going to do that just by smoothing it down onto the paper. That way we're sure that our print gets picked up. Sometimes you just have to be real patient with your print. You do always have to make sure that you try to smooth it out when you're trying to create it. And we're going to see if the heat from our hand helps us to pick up this print. So I'm still real new to working with my jelly plate. So do you guys often watch videos of people doing mixed media art? And if so, who are some of your favorite channels? Or do you like people that do a lot of work with jelly plates? Because I definitely need some help learning out how to figure my printing process, because it is not quite there yet. Now typically when I stamp, I like to bring in my microfiber cloth, except I worry that if I were to do that for this, it might rip the paper, and I really don't want to do that. Okay, so print is pretty much done except for that portion right there. So I know it didn't print all the way right there. I don't know why. We are gonna have to cut this piece down a bit because I like to make A2 size cards, which are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and we're going to still figure out a way to get this girly to stand out. We are gonna start out by just cutting the sides that don't have paint. Or at least for sure, definitely not quite enough paint. And here's the thing about me. I don't mind doing a print, but I'm the kind of girl that I'm like, I will do one print and then I need to make a card. Because if I don't, then I just feel like I get bombarded with too many prints. Now we're just gonna bring in a sentiment. But first we are going to take our print and put her on a card base. Oh, and if you want to, you can always reuse your scraps to help you create another piece, but I'm not going to do that this time around. So now we're going to bring in our card base and our print and our Teflon bone folder. Now we're going to place our girly on our card front. So to do that, we're just going to bring in some tear tape to help us attach our print to our card base. Then we will figure out how in the world we're going to fix the middle of our girly. Okay, now we're going to bring in our Misty. That's going to help us align the print to our card base. Now the cool thing about making a jelly print is that you can use it for cards or you can use it for art journals. And I know that jelly plates come in a variety of sizes, so it's up to you what size you actually prefer to work with. I just happen to be very big into card making, and so I bought the 5x7 size because I knew that way it would help me create prints that would fit onto an A2 size card. There you go, there's our little print. And now, let's see, we're just going to try to finish this card up. So we're gonna bring in this older Unity stamp, and we are gonna stamp it, and we're gonna put a little border across our piece. So we are just gonna bring in this cardstock piece, and we're going to stamp the sentiment right there. That's okay. You just have to take the foam piece out. That's what you have to do if you're trying to use a rubber stamp in your MISTI. I just happen to have the misfortune that occasionally when I do that, I misplace where I put that foam pad. So that's why I have two MISTIs that are used specifically just for rubber stamps, and the rest are used for acrylic or clear, whatever word you like to use for that. I have to make sure that the sentiment is straight. So yeah, that looks good. And now we can just stamp it. And we're gonna stamp it one more time. But I think it's a really cute sentiment. So there you go. I think that's real cute. Now it's not exactly perfect, but as far as placement, I thought it looked straight, but apparently I was wrong. That's okay. We still have a little paper trimmer right here, so we will just use that. And we will just use a bit of washi tape to help us make sure that this goes in nicely so we can trim it. Now we just need to make sure that it's straight the rest of the way. So straight on both sides. Actually, you know what? We're not going to worry about being straight on both sides. We're going to make that into a little banner. So for that, we're just going to bring in some scissors, and we're going to cut the piece of paper in the center on both of these. And then just clip them on both sides. That should help us out. You know what this stencil reminds me of? It reminds me of the girls from the 60s, the 50s? Maybe the 50s. I don't know. That was definitely way before my time. So yeah, I'm just going to pop that up with just a bit of foam tape. So now we just need to bring in our tool-in-one to help us remove the backing, and then our card will be complete. And I'm not going to add any embellishments because I think there's a lot going on this piece. So let's see, there's your T, there's the T-square, so I can just make sure that it is nice and even. There you go. I think that looks real cute. I hope y'all have fun along this hop. Hopefully some other people will be a bit more talented with using the gel plate than I am. I hope y'all stay safe, stay healthy, stay crafty. If you like what you saw, click the like button. If you have any suggestions for channels I should be watching that will help me out with my journey of using the gel plate, I would love if you left that in the comment section down below. If you'd like to see more from my channel, please click the subscribe button and click that bell icon to be notified when new videos are coming up. Okay, bye.